This is why you're not gaining muscle, and the answer probably isn't what you expect. The uncomfortable truth most skinny guys refuse to accept comes down to two things: eating less than they believe while training harder than they should. Research backs this up with a number that should make you uncomfortable, because self-proclaimed hard gainers underreport their caloric intake by an average of 47%. That 2,500 calories you swear you're eating, closer to 1,700 in reality. And while you're under-eating, you're running programs built for enhanced athletes and stacking up what coaches call junk volume, then scratching your head when nothing changes. The next 20 minutes will break down exactly what science and top coaches identify as the real mistakes skinny guys make when trying to bulk. We're covering nutrition myths that have been debunked for years, training errors that waste your time, recovery factors you've completely ignored, realistic timelines the fitness industry hides from you, and which supplements deserve your money, versus which ones just make expensive urine. When this video ends, you'll understand why your current approach keeps failing, and what to do instead. Just before we begin with the video, listen to this. It might be just for you. If you've been trying to bulk for months, and your physique still hasn't changed, this is for you. Most people trying to gain muscle are not lacking effort. They're lacking structure. You can work out 5 days a week, but if your calories, macros, and meals aren't dialed in, you will not grow, period. That's exactly why I built my bulking blueprint. The step-by-step plan that shows you exactly what to eat, how much to eat, how to train, and how to bulk without getting fat. And listen, if my free videos already help you, imagine what happens when you follow the full system I actually use in real life. Stop guessing and start growing. Click the link right in the description now to unlock the bulking blueprint. Your dream physique starts the moment you take action, and that moment is right now. The single most common mistake hard gainers make is going to sting a little when you hear it. You believe you eat a lot? The data says otherwise. A landmark 1992 study in the New England Journal of Medicine examined subjects who called themselves diet resistant, and what researchers found was striking. These people underreported their caloric intake by 47% on average, which means they missed nearly half of what actually went into their mouths. More recent research, using doubly labeled water, the gold standard for measuring energy expenditure, confirms that 50 to 60% of adults report eating less than their bodies actually burn. But here's the thing, nobody in these studies lied on purpose. Human psychology creates the gap. Cornell University research showed that normal weight people underestimate intake by roughly 20%. And overweight individuals miss by about 40%. Memory bias makes people remember the one big dinner, while that skipped breakfast disappears from their mental food log. Someone eats 3,000 calories Monday, 1,500 on Tuesday, then convinces themselves they always eat huge amounts. Another factor most people have never heard of plays an equally big role, and it goes by the name NEAT, which stands for non-exercise activity thermogenesis. This covers all your unconscious movement throughout the day, fidgeting at your desk, standing instead of sitting, pacing during phone calls. Mayo Clinic researcher Dr. James Levine found that NEAT can vary by up to 2,000 calories per day between people of similar size. 2,000 calories from fidgeting alone. Let that number settle in. One overfeeding study gave participants identical 1,000 calorie surpluses, and fat gain varied tenfold between subjects, with NEAT differences explaining most of the variation. When hard gainers eat more food, their bodies unconsciously ramp up movement to burn off the extra energy. You're fidgeting away your calorie surplus without any awareness. It's happening. Greg Nuckols from Stronger by Science nails it. Hard gainers are good at building muscle. We're just not very good at gaining weight. The fix requires tracking calories accurately for 1 to 2 weeks using an actual food scale, not an app where you guess at portion sizes. Most people who commit to this discover they've been eating 500 to 1,500 fewer calories than they assume. Not a glamorous answer, just the real one. Now you understand you need more food, and that's when the second major mistake happens. Overcorrection. Skinny guys here eat more and interpret it as eat everything, believing that massive calorie surpluses translate to massive muscle gains. The research tells a different story, and it's one the fitness industry doesn't love sharing. A 2013 study in the European Journal of Sports Science tracked elite athletes eating around 3,600 calories daily against another group consuming about 2,960 calories. Body fat mass climbed 15% in the higher calorie group, while the moderate group only added 3%. And here's what matters most. Both groups built the same amount of lean muscle, worth repeating, because it changes everything. Identical muscle gains. The only thing extra calories produced was extra fat. Dr. Eric Helms published a study in 2023 through Sports Medicine Open, comparing maintenance calories against a 5% surplus and a 15% surplus over 8 weeks. No significant difference appeared in muscle thickness gains between any of the groups. The 15% surplus subjects just accumulated more body fat for their trouble. His conclusion was direct: faster rates of body mass gain primarily increase rates of fat gain rather than augmenting muscle thickness. What do coaches with actual expertise recommend? The consensus stays remarkably tight across the board. Eric Helms suggests 100 to 300 calories above maintenance depending on body size and how long you've been training. Dr. Mike Israetel recommends 250 to 500 calories over maintenance while targeting half a pound to 1 pound of weekly weight gain. Jeff Nippard advises 5 to 25% above maintenance, and his own 15% surplus experiment added 4.5 pounds of lean mass alongside 11 pounds of fat. Menno Henselmans puts the number around 10% for beginners, 5% for intermediates, and just a few percent for anyone advanced. Henselmans explains why this matters. The window between no muscle growth and gaining fat is very narrow. The evidence shows that a modest 200 to 500 calorie surplus delivers the same muscle gains as aggressive bulking, but produces about 5 times less fat. Aim for 0.25 to 0.5% of your body weight per week if you want the best muscle to fat ratio. Dream bulks create impressive before and after content and terrible long-term outcomes. 1 gram per pound. You've heard this number so many times, it feels like biological law, and that's what makes it such a stubborn myth to kill. A 2018 meta-analysis by Morton and colleagues appeared in the British Journal of Sports Medicine after analyzing 49 studies covering 1,863 participants, and their findings challenge what the fitness industry has preached for decades. Protein benefits for muscle growth plateau at 1.62 grams per kilogram per day, which converts to just 0.73 grams per pound. The 1 gram per pound recommendation overshoots the actual requirement by approximately 22%. Multiple studies reaching the same conclusions strengthen this finding considerably. Lemon and colleagues ran a 1992 study on novice bodybuilders comparing 0.61 grams per pound against 1.19 grams per pound, and no differences emerged between groups. Tarnopolsky's 1992 research tested 0.64 grams per pound versus 1.12 grams per pound for protein synthesis with identical outcomes. Hoffman examined 0.77 grams per pound against 0.91 grams per pound in 2006 and found no body composition or strength differences. The practical target lands at 0.73 to 1 gram per pound, with the higher end giving you a safety cushion. Anything beyond that amount gets oxidized for energy, which means you're paying premium prices for extra protein your muscles never use. The anabolic window myth deserves the same treatment. Fitness culture has convinced people they need protein within 30 minutes of their last rep or gains evaporate. But meta-analyses by Schoenfeld and Aragon demolished this idea. When total daily protein intake matched between groups, timing produced minimal to no effect on muscle growth. Mixed meals keep their anabolic effects active for up to 6 hours, which means eating within 3 to 4 hours before training removes any urgency around post-workout nutrition. Your focus belongs on daily totals, not sprinting to chug a shake before some imaginary deadline closes. Training errors hit intermediate lifters especially hard, and 3 mistakes stand out above the rest. Program hopping comes first, and coaches call it the silent killer of progress. Menno Henselmans explains that most gains during the first few weeks of any new exercise are largely neural in nature, meaning your nervous system learns the movement pattern before real muscle adaptation begins. Switching programs constantly resets this clock over and over, and you never reach the advanced hypertrophy stages where actual muscle growth happens. 8 to 12 weeks minimum on a single program before considering any changes. Not 8 to 12 days, weeks. Jump volume ranks second, and Jeff Nippard's definition captures it perfectly. Training that burns time and energy without producing any benefit. Research from James Krieger's meta-analysis points to 6 to 8 hard sets per muscle group per training session as the optimization point, with returns dropping sharply past that threshold. Weekly volume in the 10 to 20 set range per muscle remains where the evidence clusters. The concept of effective reps explains why more volume fails to help. Only those final repetitions of each set, the ones performed close to failure, create meaningful hypertrophy stimulus. Sets stopped 5 reps before failure accomplish almost nothing useful. More volume doesn't equal better results. More effective volume does. The distinction matters. Third on the list is cardio fear, and a 2021 research review covering 43 studies put this worry to rest. Combining aerobic training with strength training does not compromise muscle development when programmed correctly. The interference effect everyone obsesses over requires extreme endurance training at marathon-level intensities. For 99% of people lifting weights, 50 minutes of moderate cardio or 75 minutes of vigorous cardio weekly won't touch their gains. One fact adds useful perspective here. Cardiorespiratory fitness ranks as the #1 predictor of longevity, beating out both weight and muscle mass. Cardio during a bulk works fine when you follow a few guidelines. Separate it from lifting by at least 4 to 6 hours when possible. Cap total weekly cardio at 2 to 3 hours. Choose low-impact options like cycling or rowing or walking, and eat enough to cover the additional calorie burn. Cardio itself won't kill your gains. Using cardio as an excuse to avoid eating enough. This section might matter more than everything else covered so far, and skinny guys skip over it constantly. Sleep damage happens fast and hits harder than most people realize. A 2021 study measured what a single night of total sleep deprivation does to the body. Muscle protein synthesis dropped 18%, while plasma cortisol jumped 21% and testosterone fell 24%. One night produced all of that damage. 5 consecutive nights of restricted sleep at just 4 hours per night reduced myofibrillar protein synthesis by approximately 19%. 1/3 of American adults regularly fall short of the recommended 7 hours, which means they're sacrificing potential gains every time they stay up late. Stress compounds sleep problems and accelerates the downward spiral. Cortisol breaks down protein while blocking protein synthesis. And when healthy volunteers received stress hormone infusion in one study, muscle protein synthesis declined significantly within 18 hours. What matters here is that your body processes all stress the same way. Training stress, work deadlines, money problems, relationship issues, the body lumps them together, and they all chip away at your recovery capacity. Jeff Cavalier's words apply directly. Recovery cannot be understated. If you overlook that, you're going to cut your gains short. The under-recovery epidemic deserves recognition because true overtraining syndrome is actually rare, requiring months of intense training without adequate rest to develop. Most lifters experiencing what they call overtraining symptoms are actually under-recovered. Before cutting training volume, run through this checklist: sleep quality, nutrition adequacy, hydration levels, and life stress load. 22 to 23 hours of your day happen outside the gym. Recovery lives in those hours. Treat them with the same seriousness you give your workouts. Expectations need a reset because social media has completely warped what natural lifters can achieve. Research-backed muscle gain rates look nothing like the numbers fitness influencers post with their transformations. Year 1, as a beginner, offers men 20 to 25 pounds of muscle potential, while women can expect 8 to 12 pounds. Year 2, as an intermediate, drops those figures to 10 to 12 pounds for men and 4 to 6 pounds for women. Year 3 and beyond, as an advanced lifter, means 5 to 6 pounds annually at best, eventually shrinking to 1 or 2 pounds per year. 40 to 50 pounds of total muscle represents the lifetime natural ceiling for most men. Alan Aragon's model breaks this down by monthly rates. Beginners can add 1 to 1.5% of total body weight each month. Intermediates manage 0.5 to 1%, and advanced lifters gain just. Real numbers paint a sobering picture. A 150-pound beginner might realistically add 1.5 to 2.25 pounds monthly under perfect conditions, which looks nothing like those 20-pound in 8 weeks transformations flooding your feed. Visible changes follow a predictable timeline too. First noticeable differences appear at 4 to 6 weeks. Other people start commenting around 8 to 12 weeks. And significant visible transformation requires 3 to 4 months minimum of consistent effort. The comparison problem runs deeper than impatience though. A 2023 study examined the top 100 fitness influencer accounts and found that nearly two-thirds, 63%, promoted unhealthy or unrealistic body shapes. Performance-enhancing drugs, including steroids, are used by over 3 to 4 million Americans, often without disclosure from the influencers who set expectations for what natural looks like. Genetics aren't failing you. Comparisons to people hiding their drug use are. Money flows out of skinny guys' wallets into the supplement industry at an alarming rate, and that industry has perfected the art of selling hope in powder form. The global dietary supplements market exceeded $190 billion as of 2024, with projections pushing past $400 billion by 2034. 75 to 80% of American adults use dietary supplements, which represents a massive customer base convinced that products can replace fundamentals.
They cannot.
What actually delivers results breaks down into clear tiers based on evidence. S tier belongs to creatine monohydrate alone. No supplement has more research behind it, with studies showing upper body strength improvements around 4.4 kilograms and lower body gains of about 11.4 kilograms when paired with resistance training. Safe, effective, cheap. A tier includes protein powder when your diet falls short of targets and caffeine for workout performance enhancement. B tier holds mass gainers, convenient but overpriced, with whole foods outperforming them nutritionally. D and F tier covers testosterone, most testosterone boosters, and BCAAs, which become completely pointless once protein intake reaches adequate levels. Mass gainers do serve a purpose for hard gainers who genuinely struggle to consume enough calories through regular meals. The problem is cost per calorie combined with sugar and maltodextrin dominating the ingredient lists. A homemade shake blending oats, banana, peanut butter, milk, and whey delivers superior nutrition while costing far less. No supplement substitutes for a calorie surplus paired with proper training. Mass gainers consumed without resistance training produce one outcome: fat gain. A few quotes from coaches and researchers capture these ideas better than any summary could. Eric Helms: "The stimulus for muscle growth is training. Nutrition is only permissive." That single sentence explains why dirty bulking never works. Extra food cannot create extra muscle stimulus. Dr. Mike Israel: "Too many lifters believe they can maintain a shredded physique and still build significant muscle. The truth is, to gain muscle, you need to gain weight. There's no way around it." Israel himself reached 270 pounds at 5'6" during what he calls a dreamer bulk phase, before accepting that the approach led nowhere good. Greg Nuckols provides insight into why hard gainers need to overshoot calculated numbers. It takes 800 extra calories to gain a pound of muscle on paper, but in reality it usually takes quite a bit more, often more like 2,000 to 3,000 calories, because metabolic adaptation eats into the surplus. Your body adapts to increased intake. Planning for that adaptation separates people who gain from people who spin their wheels. Everything covered in the past 20 minutes points toward one realization. The hard gainer problem almost never traces back to metabolic abnormality. Underestimated food intake, overestimated training quality, inadequate recovery, and comparisons to enhanced athletes with professional lighting explain virtually all of it. Evidence supports a formula that frustrates people because simplicity isn't what they want to hear. Track calories accurately, since you're probably eating 30 to 50% less than your mental estimate. Maintain a moderate 200 to 500 calorie surplus instead of a dream bulk. Hit 0.73 to 1 gram of protein per pound spread across 3 to 4 meals daily. Follow a single program for 8 to 12 weeks or longer, with progressive overload driving the process. Build your training around compound lifts rather than isolation work. Get 7 to 9 hours of quality sleep every night. Accept that meaningful transformation spans months to years, not weeks. That's the entire formula. Nothing complicated about it. Nothing easy about it either. Fundamentals first. Trust the timeline. Give it enough time. The muscle comes. If this helped, subscribing supports more evidence-based content. And for anyone still convinced they eat massive amounts of food, as a hard gainer, try tracking everything for 2 weeks and see what the numbers actually show. If you've been trying to bulk for months and your physique still hasn't changed, this is for you. Most people trying to gain muscle are not lacking effort. They're lacking structure. You can work out 5 days a week, but if your calories, macros, and meals aren't dialed in, you will not grow, period. That's exactly why I built my bulking blueprint, the step-by-step plan that shows you exactly what to eat, how much to eat, how to train, and how to bulk without getting fat. And listen, if my free videos already help you, imagine what happens when you follow the full system I actually use in real life. Stop guessing and start growing. Click the link right in the description now to unlock the bulking blueprint. Your dream physique starts the moment you take action, and that moment is right now. See you in the next one.